let's jump into this. Okay, so what's the news today? The news today is that Johnny Somali has been booked. Now, if some of you are fluent in Korean, you may have caught this on some of the YouTube channels. So obviously, you had over here a YouTube channel right here, and playing this video here.
또다시 가던 길을 가자. 외국인 유튜버들이 따라가며 왜 도망가냐고 따집니다.
By the way, Weigugan means foreigner. So, anyways, this is talking about I think what is this NBC? So yeah, NBC News in Korea. So they had a ton of people watching this one, and they announced the fact that he was actually criminally booked today. But because there's an English language version, I'm going to stick to that, and I'm actually going to cover it. All right, so here we go. We have this from a Korean news outlet. This is the Korea Jung'an Daily. U.S. streamer Johnny Somali handed to Korean prosecutors for convenience store outburst. Now, I'm going to read this article so you guys understand what happened today. And then I'm going to explain why this is a huge fucking deal. This is not a little deal. This is a massive deal because of the way their system works. Okay? It's different than our system. It's not the same, right? It looks like it on the outside, but it's not. So Johnny Somali, a U.S. streamer known for his offensive online antics, was handed over to the Korean prosecution for creating a commotion in a convenience store. According to the Seoul Mapo police precinct on Monday, the streamer, whose legal name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail, remember that, Ramzi Khalid Ismail. Now, by the way, I say both his name and his nickname because of two reasons. Number one, he hates his name, so I love saying it to piss him off. And number two, we need to make his name out there, his colloquial name out there, or his nickname, Johnny Somali, out there. So no matter where he goes, he can get reported, he can get banned, he can get, appropriate actions can be taken no matter where this guy goes, right? All right. So he was handed over Wednesday on charges of obstructing a business. He uploaded a video of himself pouring instant noodles on a table in a convenience store in Mapo district, Western Seoul, on October 15th. His outburst began after employees stopped him from drinking alcohol in the store. Ishmael also blasted loud music and screamed sexist slurs at the employee. So understand this action. This action is going to be very important. He poured noodles on the table. Then the employee asked him to stop. So first the employee asked him to stop drinking alcohol in the store. In response, he dumped noodles on the table. He blasted music and screamed sexist slurs in response. So that's going to be important because I'm going to read to you which law was violated, and you're going to apply those facts. The video is currently unavailable on YouTube, as was deleted, but guess what? The internet is forever. And a lot of people are learning that right now. The internet is forever, right? It got clipped. It got preserved, right? So that was all that. There's enough evidence of that happening that the police have access to, even though it was deleted off his channel, right? Which he's tried to do. So Ishmael faced widespread public backlash after uploading a video of himself kissing the Statue of Peace, that's the Comfort Woman statue, and dancing in front of the monument in Yongsan, Central Seoul. So actually, this is kind of incorrect. So he kissed the one in Itaewon, which is where I put the first flowers, and then he danced in front of the one in Jongdong, which is another district that's kind of to the north of Seoul Station. So there's probably about 30 of these statues in Seoul. They're all over the place, and there was even several of them in Busan. So it's kind of, when you say the Comfort Woman statue of Peace, there's not just one. Just understand, even when I was in Paju on the DMZ, I saw one right by the DMZ. So these are everywhere. So the statue represents young women forced into sexual slavery during Japan's colonial rule over Korea from 1910 to 1945. The wartime sexual slavery victims are euphemistically referred to as comfort women. The streamer was eventually struck in the face by a man while live streaming on October 24th and kicked by another during a broadcast with his Korean acquaintance Hyung Jung Hank Yo on October 27th. Yo is a notorious online figure who referred to him on social media as the Texas Asian Nazi. And was sentenced to jail and deported from the U.S. in 2019. So his homeboy got literally deported from the U.S. That's factual. Ishmael initially doubled down on his obscene actions with more inflammatory comments and behavior, including praising the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on his now deleted channel, Johnny Somali Live. That's a picture of him kissing the one. This is the one, I believe this is the one in Jongdong. This is not in Yongsan. Abe, who was assassinated in Japan while campaigning in 2022, was known for his hawkish attitude towards Korea, including denying the Japanese government forced Korean women into wartime slavery. Ishmael was attacked once more on October 31st by YouTuber Yu Dalgun, who was subsequently arrested and then released, of course, on a street in Songpa district in southern Seoul. He was reportedly a former member of Korean Navy's underwater demolition team UDT, the Korean equivalent of U.S. Navy SEALs. And that's what they've been referring to as like Korean SEAL. Ishmael uploaded an apology video on November 6th on the YouTube channel J Company 2020. In the video, a group of people, Korean YouTubers, brought Ishmael out of a parked car near a Statue of Peace in Dobon district in northern Seoul and escorted him to the statue. They also demanded that Ishmael apologize for his actions. So there's him doing his apology, which we reviewed and which was totally inauthentic. Ishmael said he was unaware of the significance of the statue and his actions were just for entertainment for audiences from America who do not know much about comfort women in the statue. That's bullshit, by the way. We proved last stream, we proved decisively that he was lying and that he knew about the statue the entire time. We actually showed the video where he went up to the statue previously and a woman approached him and explained how this was offensive, explained the history of it. So he's lying. And actually, he did this knowing how offensive though that would be. He literally was told that's something that Koreans really care about, and that's why he attacked it and targeted it. So he said he was unaware. He knew. And then he lied about the comedy culture and the difference between the US and Korea in comedy culture. And all of us collectively on this stream said this is BS. We have a lot of Americans. The majority of my viewers are Americans, although we have 5,500 people here today. So I imagine that there's probably at least 1,000 non-Americans here. And by the way, I have a lot of Europeans that watch, Australians that watch. I love you guys. I love all of you guys. Appreciate all you guys. And thank you. Thank you. But he is lying. This is not American humor. American humor does not find that funny. In fact, Americans are absolutely pissed off. In fact, I would say more Americans are willing to punch him than to laugh at him. Let me be clear. More Americans would knock him out than would laugh at him. And I can say that with confidence. I don't need to be a comedian to say nobody finds this shit funny. It's not funny, right? It wasn't funny to begin with. Viewers in the streaming platform or users doubted his sincerity and criticized the YouTuber's vigilante actions, saying they don't represent all Koreans and they have no authority to demand or accept apologies. So yeah, no, I definitely doubted sincerity, although I don't fault the YouTubers for what they did at all. But I think that perhaps the optics of it didn't look good. But that said, what Johnny did is unforgivable. Absolutely unforgivable. And to me, until he sees some criminal punishment, even then, I don't think there's forgiveness, right? The forgiveness is not there. As I would say, and once again, I'm a little bit more vulgar, but screw this guy, right? I have no patience for people like that. And when I hear an inauthentic apology, I understand it. And really, this is a type of guy that only understands when he's punished harshly. But last, Ishmael also reported he was being followed by somebody on Friday in Guri, Gyeonggi. Now, let me make some comments. His location was doxed, okay? His location was doxed on last week. And by the way, it was doxed on Korean sources, other places, right? So he had to move again. And the police, from what I believe, were watching people that were watching him and were making comments on, where the police were kind of making sure that he's not attacked. But my understanding is the police are not protecting Johnny. They're not keeping him close because they're protecting him. They're keeping him close because they were formulating a case, which they filed today. Now, let's get into exactly what was filed today and why it's so important. Well, and let me get into this. So What was filed today was a criminal act. So I have pulled up the English version of the criminal acts of Korea. So we're going to get into that. And we're going to get into the exact criminal act that was pulled up. There is a Korean translation. So my Korean brothers and sisters, you can use this too to pull this up. It is going to, I'll show you the section. I'll show you where it is. Obviously, it's available in Korean, but we're going to read it in English for two reasons. Number one, most of the audience here speaks English. Number two, my Korean ain't so hot. So here is the law, the criminal acts. This is Korea, right? We got the criminal acts pulled up here. Let's get to exactly what Johnny violated. Johnny violated, we're going to scroll down here all the way down to section 314. Now, section 314 also implies or brings in section 313 by way of some of the reading of this. But let's read 314. This is what he's charged with. Interference with a business. A person who interferes with a business of another by the method of Article 313, that's the former article, so we'll read that one in a second, or by the threat of force, and we're going to get into what threat of force means, shall be punished by imprisonment for not more than 5 years or by a fine not exceeding 15 million won. By the way, whenever there's a fine exceeding 3 million won, you can be deported. So anything exceeding 3 million won, you can be deported. So just understand he's within deportation range here. So let's read 313. 313, which this refers to, said you can, take somebody out for this or for force. So injuring credit says a person who injures the credit of another by circulating false facts or fraudulent means, right? Deception shall be punished by imprisonment for not more than 5 years or by a fine not exceeding 15 million won. So that could be lying, right? Or false facts. So if you do any of that, false facts, fraud, lying, or you use force, you can go to jail. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Johnny didn't come in there with a gun. Well, guns don't exist in Korea, guys. I know some of you are not familiar with this. But what he just ended up, making a fool of himself. Well, let's look at some of what he did here. And I've got the video. This is a compilation, but this is a lot of things he did, but you're going to see the ramen scene as part of this. So here's Johnny Somali running around acting a fool. It's a minute clip.
An African-American YouTuber acts lewdly towards Sonia Sang, or Statue of Peace. He even sits on the statue's laps and dances. Somali loudly listens.
So here he is in the convenience store. So this is what he's been charged for. He's been charged for this particular incident. Okay.
To music while dancing, and intentionally spills the ramen he's eating on the floor.
So he did this after being told to not do what he's doing. So after he's been instructed, he does that.
And throws the noodles about. Then he turns on obscene material in the subway as if he made a mistake and makes sexually derogatory comments to a woman who's passing by.
And once again, all of these things are different crimes, right? But he's been booked on that one crime. Pay attention to this. Every single one of these crimes, he can be prosecuted on, right? Why now we just have the one. So
Koreans striking Somali in the face. At that instant, a man comes over and kicks the American YouTuber.
So those are some of the actions there, but you saw in that video, you see the point at which he gets hit with you can see why he's getting hit with the charges for the convenience store, for the ramen, for throwing it out, for insulting her. Now, here's the thing. Let's pull back up that statute for a second. What is a threat of force? Well, talking to someone, once again, I am not a Korean lawyer. Let me be very clear. Let me make this clear. I am not a Korean lawyer. I have not passed the Korean bar. I am relying on others who have passed the Korean bar or who have extensive knowledge of the Korean legal system. These are folks that I've talked to over the last couple days, and I've gotten to understand this. So understand, I am forwarding on information that I have received through my conversations with them, which have been very illuminating as to some difference within our legal systems, because they are different. So what I understand is this right here, threat of force, has been used for people obstructing businesses in a wide category of things. So essentially, as soon as they tell you to leave and you do not leave, as soon as they tell you, hey, you need to leave the store, according to what I understand, if you do not leave, if you're obstructing the business, if you're ignoring them, you're ignoring what they're telling you, you can get hit with obstruction of business. Right? So this has been used successfully against things like, for example, protests. So, or things against people that are boycotting, but they're inside the store causing a commotion. So they're obstructing the business in a broad sense. They don't have to be violent and assault anyone. They just have to essentially not comply with your directions, with the directions of the business owner, the employee, right? And they can be hit with this. So understand, this is something that can be used more broadly, and it has been used with people that were nonviolent, that were just in the business, right, causing a commotion, causing a scene, and not following instructions to get out.